She's a veteran, a soldier who survived brutal battlefields. But that day, in her own homeland, she was thrown out of a fine restaurant just because of the scars on her face. I'm sorry. We need this table for VIP guests. It wasn't her clothes. It wasn't her behavior. It was because her presence didn't fit the aesthetic of a peaceful evening. At Justice for Veterans, we tell the veteran stories no one dares to speak of, moments when courage is tested. Not on the battlefield, but in everyday life. And this is one of those stories that made all of America stop and look truth in the eye. A story of dignity, of a dinner table, and of why she refused to leave. Charlotte Charlie Miller was once a captain in the U.S. Marine Corps. She led her squad during the final campaign in Afghanistan, where an IED blew up her Humvee. When she woke up, half her face, her neck, and left shoulder were completely disfigured by third-degree burns. 18 surgeries, 300 hours of physical therapy, 7 months relearning how to walk, 2 years without looking in a mirror. Every morning she counts to 10 before daring to face herself. But even she couldn't imagine that her first night out would awaken her past so violently. When Charlotte returned, there was no applause. No one waited at the airport, just a cold taxi and the uneasy glance of the driver. On the way home, a little girl stared at her through the window-wide eyes, then turned and clung to her mother. She used to be a captain commanding dozens, but now, standing in a grocery aisle, she didn't know what to pick or who to look at. No one knew she had saved 4 comrades from a burning Humvee. All they saw were the scars. That evening, Charlotte wore a navy blue dress, told herself, "It's just dinner. I'm just a normal person." She didn't know society still isn't ready to face what war leaves behind. The Oak Ridge Cluba place, where tailored suits sip wines worth a week's wage. Charlie stepped in. Her navy dress gently swayed under the yellow lights, her face half hidden by light makeup and a lock of hair. The host hesitated, just for a second, but Charlie saw it. That same look, strange, pitying, a touch of fear. "Welcome, right this way," he said, his smile stiff, like memorized protocol. She was led to a window-side table, a good seat, but not a single eye in the room left her. Charlie sat down. White linens, leather-bound menu, a flickering candle amid dim gold light. She ordered pan-seared salmon, her old favorite from her military days. The waiter smiled, but avoided eye contact, quickly took the order and left. No one said anything, but the air had changed. The piano kept playing, but for Charlie, everything began to quiet. A familiar feeling, like a battlefield, but without the guns, only the eyes. And then, the manager appeared. A man in a black suit approached, walking briskly, trying to appear courteous. The manager, "Ms. Miller," he began, glancing around nervously. "We've just been informed that Senator Townsend and his wife will be arriving earlier than expected." He bowed slightly, voice lowered as if not to be overheard. "We're terribly sorry, but we need this table for VIP guests. If you wouldn't mind, we'd like to offer you a seat at the bar. Drinks are on us." She looked up. No frown, no anger. Just one calm question. "Is it because of my face?" The manager fell silent, and in that moment, the idea of fine service stood naked. Charlie rose, not in haste, not in fury, but with the calm of someone who's faced the worst. "I fought for this country," she said, voice steady, "so people like you can serve VIPs in warm restaurants with no rockets and no blood. And now you want to remove me because my face doesn't match your decor?" The room felt drained of air. No more avoiding eyes. Severon was watching now. Charlie said nothing more, but every word she spoke rang out like a warning shot. A male voice rang out from behind, calm but resolute. "Excuse me, but she doesn't need to leave." A young waiter stepped forward, about 25, black apron, still holding his tray. She reserved properly, ordered politely. She's done nothing wrong. "And if it helps, I'll cover her entire meal." "I'm sorry, I don't serve injustice." His name was Ethan Brooks. He wore no medals, no scars. But that night, he was the first to stand with her. In the silence, a slow scrape of a chair echoed. From a nearby table, an elderly man, silver hair, gray suit, rose to his feet. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said, voice low and firm. "I heard what you said, and if you don't mind, I'd like to dine with you." He approached, pulled out a chair, sat beside Charlie, nodded. "My son served in Fallujah. He didn't make it back. But you did, and for that, I'm grateful." His name was Richard Evans, and with a single, simple act, he erased the line between war and dinner. No one in that room knew that a young guest by the window had recorded everything. From the host's uneasy look, the manager's words, to Charlie's stand, and Ethan's declaration, it was all captured in a 2-minute, 32-second video. Within hours, the clip hit the internet, accompanied by the caption, "She fought for this country, and now this restaurant kicks her out because of her face." Viral. 1 million views in 12 hours. It landed on veteran forums' front pages. News outlets reached out. The story no longer lived inside 4 walls. It was spreading unstoppable. Within 24 hours, Charlie's video was shared by thousands of veterans across America. They posted their scars, their once hidden faces tagged with "honored scars." The Oak Ridge Club's Yelp page flooded with 1-star reviews. The press caught wind. Morning shows called it a wake-up slap to our polished, polite society. Charlie said nothing more, but her actions opened a door. A wave, not just of anger, but of reckoning. 3 days later, Charlie received a quiet email, not from reporters, not from the government, but from a nameless group of veterans. "We were once silent, like you, afraid to walk into crowded rooms. But after that video, we knew it was time to change. We're organizing a gathering, calling it Honored Scars. And if you're willing, you'll be the one to open it." She read it a third time, closed her eyes, exhaled. Charlie wasn't one for speeches, but she understood. What happened at that restaurant wasn't just about her. Charlie stepped up to the podium. Spotlight lit her face, uncovered, no hair to hide behind. For the first time, she let them see everything. For years, I let others decide how much I was worth, based on what war left behind. But that night in the restaurant, when I was asked to leave just because of how I look, I knew I couldn't stay silent anymore. These scars are proof I survived, and if someone can't face them, it's because they don't have the courage. Charlie was no longer just the one with the scars. She became a voice for all those once hidden. After Charlie's speech, hundreds of veterans stood not to clap, but to share their own stories. They spoke of photos, nightmares, rejections over their looks. But for the first time, they felt no shame. Honored Scars was no longer just an event. It became a movement. Charlie received hundreds of letters. Some said they'd once considered ending their lives, but after that video, they thought again. From a solitary dinner table, Charlie had opened a round table of empathy, where everyone had a seat. Charlotte never asked for pity. She asked for fairness. Because it's not the scar that devalues a person. It's society's silence that wounds the most. When one woman refused to leave her seat, she proved honor isn't in the face, it's in how we live. And when a waiter removed his apron, an old man took a seat. Millions stood up. At Justice for Veterans, we don't tell stories to bring tears. We tell them to restore dignity to those the world has forgotten. If you believe scars are proof, not shame, share this story. Because justice doesn't begin with words. It begins when someone dares not to look away.